Hey, yeah. First time seeing me on here because I'm kind of shy and I'm Gen X and, we just don't get involved in things if we can avoid it. We avoid people. But I'm having issues with this time in our country. I've lived in southeast Missouri my entire life in the Boot Heel, a little town called New Madrid. And no, we're not seeing a lot of the things that the big cities are dealing with. But it just got me to thinking today, different things. I realize even though I'm basically poor white trash, my family I don't come from money or anything like that. But I realized that I really did lead a privileged life because here I am now, about to turn 49 this year, and my whole life I've been told lies. But I believed them, and I believed in everything I was told. You can't tell me, or any of the rest of us, Gen Xers, who went to school on a daily basis and stood up every morning and put our hands on our chest, said every word of the Pledge of Allegiance, and internalized that shit, believed it, believed our country was the greatest. You can't tell us that and then make that flag and that pledge a symbol of hate and fear and terror. You call people who identify as anti-fascists a terrorist organization. I grew up in a family where I was told we voted Republican, no matter what. But at the same time, I was also provided everything I needed to look up and read about every candidate running for office in my state and at the federal level that I could vote for. And I was encouraged to think it through, look at their voting records, pick and choose the people who served my interests and cared about the things that I cared about. So we kept our votes private in our family. You didn't talk about who you voted for. You just were instructed to vote Republican, but then told to make up your own mind. So I've never identified with one party or the other. I think that's a big part of the problem. They want us divided. We all know that. They want us at each other's throat. Each race at each other's throat. Each gender at each other's throat. Different workers from different types of services and goods. They want everybody at their throat, each other's throats. They want us all fighting because as long as we're all fighting with each other, we're not paying attention to what they're doing with our tax money, to what they're doing to our grandparents, to our disabled children and adults who need help in this community, to poor people who can't afford to feed their families even though both people in the home are working, like my house here. We were also taught, because of course, being from the Bible Belt, I've had healthy doses of religion off and on my entire life. I've also chosen to study other paths like paganism and Wicca, Buddhism, Taoism. I've studied a little in Judaism and Islam. Enough study on the Bible to last me a lifetime on my own, and have come to my own determinations about faith and religion, and they are not the same thing, and you don't have to have both. But we were taught to believe in this book called the Bible, and the last time I checked, over 2,000 times it encourages us, all of us, to care for the elderly and the disabled, the handicapped, the sick, the injured, the stranger. They didn't have a word for immigrant. There wasn't such a thing because there were no borders. You walked to wherever you wanted to go. If you wanted to go to a different country, you walked around and went to a different damn country. It was that simple. You were just a stranger in a foreign land. And as such, you were afforded basic human rights and hospitality. I'm in a country I was born in where I was guaranteed the rights to bodily autonomy, to making the choice for myself whether or not it was the proper time to have a child, if I should end up pregnant, whether it was by accident or whatever happened. It's not anybody else's choice. I've worked in the medical field my entire adult life in one form or the other. And nobody has the right to tell me or any other woman what they can or can't do with their body. That should be between a woman and her doctor. Otherwise, how about we switch to vasectomies? They're much faster, 20-minute outpatient procedure. You guys can go right on in, snip, 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 take care of business, and we won't have to worry about all these babies and who's going to feed them and clothe them and house them and raise them without any income. Because here we are, a couple months before your big, beautiful bill is supposed to take effect and be the most devastating thing to our economy ever. Beyond anything anyone in my generation could imagine. You know, we all grew up hearing about how bad the stock market crash was. I think this is probably going to end up fucking worse than that, if you want me to be real honest. But it's time for the people to speak up. It's time for the people to stand up. We're down here in New Madrid, Missouri, in the middle of nowhere. The closest indivisible chapter is an hour away almost in Cape. So I'm interested in trying to start an indivisible chapter here in New Madrid County. Anyone that would like to DM me or contact me, please do so. Feel free. Comment. I'll hit you back up. This is my first video. Hopefully there'll be more. We'll see how this goes.